Basically, right after the girls heard the verdict, we only had a couple of glances at each other for 5 seconds, and that was it. She was led away by all those numerous guards in the courtroom, and we couldn't speak to each other.
Well, in all of the time leading up to today, though, she must have expected something like this would happen. She has been an activist for so long, and she's done pretty outrageous things, releasing thousands of cockroaches into a courthouse, helping to paint a picture of a man's genitals on a bridge, an enormous picture that was calculated to offend. She couldn't be surprised, I think, after all, to head to jail after all that.
Well, doing all these things in Russia, people still kind of feel that the government is not supposed to cross a certain line in arresting people for singing a protest song or doing non-violent protest art actions. So basically, the amazing international outcry we have on our hands here is because everyone was amazed that Putin decided to give this brutal sentence to girls for singing a protest song inside a church. No one was expecting that.
Well, I don't want to sound naive, but it isn't strictly speaking Vladimir Putin who did it. It was in a court, and there was an intriguing poll done by the Levada Center, which I gather is a respected polling agency inside of Russia. And what it found is that 44% of Russians thought the trial was fair. Only 17% thought it was unfair. The rest clearly didn't have an opinion, but most Russians obviously aren't that sympathetic, and though this poll was conducted before the verdict was handed down, a great many, a plurality, I guess you could say, thought that the women were tried fairly.
Well, the problem with Russia is that a very large portion of the country's population is very much influenced by what they see on federal television, since a big portion of Russia is still really disconnected from the internet, from magazines, from press. And it's really easy to influence people by putting on all these programs that portray Pussy Riot as this brutal Orthodox Christian offending Russian traditional values tainting band, which has the aim of destroying Russia and bringing revolution to the country. So it's really easy to paint a media picture of Pussy Riot as something very horrible. And obviously the government did get a large portion of Russia's population in believing that the girls have done something.
Let me jump
really
in
bad.
on that point. Is it just Russia? Because one wonders if they had tried something like this at a cathedral in Rome or at a big church in New York City or at a church, for that matter, in Israel, they probably would have gotten arrested.
Well, obviously, in all these cases, people would have gotten arrested, but lawyers have repeatedly stated in many countries across the world that never would people get prison sentences for these kinds of actions. This would never happen in any Western country. It's just not possible.
Let me ask you one last question, and maybe the crucial one here. President Putin himself has the power to pardon the three women. Are they going to ask for it? Would you ask for it now?
Well, actually, Nadia, my wife, she has already answered this question. She said that it's not us who will be asking for pardon from Putin. It's Putin who should ask for pardon from us and from the whole country. So the girls are pretty strict on this, and I don't think they'll be asking Putin for anything.